Hey guys, Mr. George Remus back in the first assistant with season 4, episode 1. We have the new game mode trials and some buffs. Today, we are specifically looking at the new Kyle buffs. He got a lot more skill power and a lot more bonus damage scaling with shields. I'm actually not running a Transcendent mod at all, and this build works in both Axion dungeons, it works in trials, and it works in Onslaught without really any issues, and you never die. You never will die using this build as long as you're using it properly, and it's a lot of fun using Kyle in this manner. If you learned anything, have any questions, comment them down below, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if it helps support channel growth, and without further ado, let's get right into it. As I stated at the beginning of the video, I am not using a Transcendent module. If you would like to, Superconductive Bombing Mark II is a really good option. All it really does is change Kyle's fourth ability. Instead of this dive bombing animation that you get for the big burst of damage, you will hover in the air and shoot a barrage of rockets. You can't move and you're kind of just sitting there while using it. But if you want to use that instead, you are more than welcome to. A quick overview of what we're trying to accomplish with Kyle here, regardless of which Transcendent module you want to run, is you need about 75,000 max shield. It's a little less than that, but if you aim for that, you will get the maximum amount of bonus damage with your skills. As you can see here on his 4 ability, it says damage increase amount, which is your max shield times 0.80%, and then the maximum damage increase. This is the goal that we're trying to shoot for, and the math works out to be a little less than 75,000. As you can see, all his damaging abilities have this bonus, and that is what we are going to shoot for. Right, with that being said, keep in mind that all the mods here that give max HP or shields are actually damage increases with how Kyle works. Right now, having said that, I'm running increased HP, I'm running increased shield, I'm running stim accelerate. Kyle does not have MP, so this is free. Amplification control for skill range and max shield, and then shield resonance for max shield and some skill power boost. For cooldown, we're running Nimble Fingers, MP conversion, and focus on non-attribute. Again, Kyle doesn't have MP, so this is free, and the non-skill power boost ratio here, it goes nicely with the skill cooldown. For our ultimate mod, we are running Overwhelming Shield. If you don't know how this works, it fixes your max HP to 1, but gives you 26.8% of your max HP as shields, which is why we're increasing our HP and our shields across the board. And then finally, for our Ancestor mod, we're running max HP and max shield as the two most important things. If you get a negative max shield with enough percentage to get up to that 75,000, you don't have to run max HP. You can run tech skill power boost ratio instead. But 90% of us are going to be looking for max HP and max shield because it's a far easier roll to get. But a good third option is a tech skill power boost ratio. And then finally, our trigger mod is overcharged shield. If you don't know how this works, when you hit an enemy 5 times with a clash, or each time you hit an enemy with the clash skill, you build a charge. After you have 5 charge, and you hit somebody with a charge type skill, which will be our 3, you gain overcharged shield, which is just a fancy name for a big skill power increase buff. All right, here is a quick overview of all the abilities, starting with Kyle's 1 ability. First, a short tap does a short punch. If you press and hold your 1 ability, you fly through, dragging enemies with you. For your 2nd ability, I never find myself using this, but you throw up a barrier that moves, you can shoot through it. If enemies shoot it, you will build up magnetic force. Kyle's 3rd ability, which is one of the very important ones, when you activate it, you will see a duration going around. If you activate again, you do a big burst. This is incredibly important because while you have this active, your magnetic force will take damage instead of your shields and health, and you are almost unkillable when you combine this with the things like your 1 to refill your magnetic force. And lastly, our 4 ability, if you use it on the ground, you will fly into the air, you will zoom really super fast, and then you can crash to the ground to do big damage. It does more damage based on the maximum amount of magnetic force you currently have, so be sure to build up as much as possible before activating it. And if you activate it in the air, you just activate it immediately and kind of can just smash a lot faster. And finally, this is how the trigger mod works. When you hit an enemy with your 1, you gain a stack of energy transfer. You need to build up to 5 stacks, and once you do, you will keep earning stacks up to 5. It doesn't do anything. When you activate your 3, though, your trigger mod activates, and now you're getting that skill power boost. Looking at the firearm, I'm going to present two. The first one is the brand new transcendent weapon, the ATR-0 Prototype. If you're not sure what this does, it does 3 different things, but what we care about is its first ability, non-attribute skill power amplification rate. You gain this stat simply for holding this weapon in your hand. The second ability, when you use non-attribute abilities, gives you these arche energy bullets, and when you shoot, it does firearm damage times whatever multiplier you have. This is decent. You don't really shoot in this build, but if you wanted to for Corel's ship against weak points and targets, or even an onslaught against the ship, you can use this for that, and it works out well. And then finally, for its third ability, the arche explosion. Each time you use a non-attribute ability, it does a 10-meter radius explosion of damage. It's not super powerful, but it is nice to have that extra output going for you. And then finally, for our sub abilities, I have non-attribute skill magazine and multi-hit conversion. I don't know every single possible sub ability yet of what we could go for, but anything that's going to boost your skill power is what I would want for this build specifically. If you do plan on shooting more, this is a multi-hit weapon, so multi-hit bonuses like this are still good. I do believe there's a multi-hit and non-attribute ability somewhere. That wouldn't be a bad option either. These are the current mods I am using on the prototype. I want to be very clear, this is not a firearm based build. I have not damage tested this with other descendants. This might not be the best in slot version of it, but if you are looking for a build for the weapon to start with, this is what I'm running: multi-hit and then firearm damage. This last spot I have to catalyze is going to have aiming once I level it up one more time. Now, if you're looking for a non-transcendent weapon to use while looking for a really good prototype roll, this is Secret Garden. If you're not sure how this weapon works, when you are holding it and you use a tech skill, you will get a 50% chance to get a skill power buff, up to 3 of them. It's about a 50% skill power buff overall. It's really, it's actually really good. I just do a damage test between the two. I was having a little bit better luck with the amplifier from the prototype, and I don't have a full roll for that. So if you get a full roll on the skill power buff on the prototype, it's definitely going to be better, and it has 100% uptime versus this where you have to keep spamming skills. It's a bit more work, but this is an ultimate version. Now, we won't shoot this weapon, so the modules don't really matter. I don't even think I have mine put together properly with mods, but the cores will matter on this garden if you're going to run that. I run 3 grappling hook times, but you can run 3 sprint speeds instead. I actually have 2 different secret gardens, but this is all you would care about, is making these either grapple hook time or sprint speed for faster movement. Components and reactors. So Kyle's abilities that deal the majority of our damage are tech and non-attribute. So we're going to run a tech non-attribute reactor with tech skill power boost ratio and skill cooldown. And then for our component set, we're going to run a 4-piece disordered resolve set. If you don't know how this works, it gives you some skill power based off of your max HP missing. Our overwhelming shield fixes us at 1, so we get the maximum buff of 14.3. When you debuff an enemy, you get some shield recovery, and you also get this exhaustion thing. We don't care about the exhaustion. It's just like a bonus attack that doesn't do very much damage. It's not even worth mentioning. But the reason we run this component set specifically is the fact that it is 4 HP pieces plus skill power. And when you core it with 2 HP cores and 2 shield cores, it gets us a lot more max shield. That is the purpose of this set and why we're not running something like Enlightened Mage or Slayer. Taking a peek at our arche board, you are going to want to grab all the skill power nodes that you can. You got one here, one here, and the one here for 3 of them. It'll build up to the mutant cell. We went with arche chain catalyst. This is a resistance debuff based off of our non-attribute skill power boost. You want to grab the maxed HP and the increased shield. I also grabbed these 2 ranges. Remember, we're aiming for about 75,000 HP. If you aren't quite there, you can squeeze a little bit more right here. But if you're overflowing, you can put it into range instead. And then inversion reinforcement. I understand that mine's not finished. I am working on it, but a lot of things here isn't going to help the build at all. I went with module outpoint synchronization as my first one. I could have built in some of these other ones, but the fact that this gives you base skill power boost just for having an HP mod or a shield mod equipped, which we do, that's pretty free damage, so we took that. After that, I went all the way down here for when a transcendent weapon is equipped. You get some firearm attack and reload time modifier up to 5 stacks. When you shoot, not really shooting. Again, I was kind of running out of options to throw here. You don't really need the damage reduction because you're basically unkillable. And then for my third option, I went with snowy sled dog enhancement. When you have the snow sled dog equipped, you get some skill cost reduction. I've messed with the fellows a little bit. Mine's not fully leveled up, but this is a really good option to pair with the snow dog. And then for our final stats, we have the 97% skill power boost ratio, the 52 amplifier from the firearm, and then some tech skill power boost ratio. This is a lot of damage right here for a non-attribute descendant. We are pushing the 75% skill cooldown, which is super, super important. We have the max magnetic force, which is the most damage out of our 4 possible. Our range increasing would be very nice, but I couldn't squeeze that in, which was really unfortunate. And our base skill power is 35% increase. And then on our survivability side, we're sitting at 76,873 max shield, which is a bit more than we need, but it's really hard to start splitting hairs once you get that high. You'll probably never die, and then the resistance and stuff will vary, but this is pretty similar to what you should be having. And some final notes for the in-game activities. If you are running Onslaught with this build, one, it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't worry too much about the ships dropping in unless you're shooting them down. You want to pick up cards that increase skill power and outgoing damage fire, preferably 1 of each. You don't really need anything that's survivability based. We're already at the peak damage on our max shield, so you don't want those either. For trials, I'm still experimenting with it. You just want to make sure that you're picking cards that give you skill power more than anything. For your select abilities, again, 1, 3, and 4 are your damage abilities, so I wouldn't take any cards that boost damage for your 2 abilities specifically. And you want cards that boost tech skill power. There is a transcendent card called Overcharge that gives you skill power based off of your max shields. Huge damage buff for Kyle. Huge damage buff, so absolutely shoot for that. When using this build in the Master Corel dungeon, the mega dungeon, you will not have issues with survivability and not have a lot of issues with damage either. You definitely get to play more of a support and damage role, which is really nice. In the boss fight, when he does his like big wipe abilities, there was even times where I found myself being the Eugen of the group, surviving it easily and then just rezzing them and keeping the fight going for like guaranteed clears. This has actually been a very strong start for me in season 4, and I hope that you guys also enjoyed the build for these 3 activities. With all that being said, if you guys have any questions, comment down below the questions. I'll do my best to answer. If you learned anything or liked the video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel to get notifications for new videos and to help support channel growth. With that, I thank you all, and I hope you guys enjoy the start to season 4, episode 1.